Hello and welcome to How to Automotive. Today I'm making this video about a topic that I get asked about all the time, which is moving from hourly to flat rate pay. So I thought I'd give you a couple little tidbits and share with you my thoughts on that. So the first thing you want to do before you move over from hourly to flat rate is you want to be tracking your hours already. So you want to keep track of everything you're doing right now, so you kind of know what you're doing right now. So every job you do, you need to document the times, how fast you're doing it, how efficient you are at it, and kind of keep a log of that before you move over to the flat rate pay. That way you know if you're ready. So if you're constantly doing, say if you're working 40 hours and you're constantly doing more than 40 hours worth of work, but you're only getting paid for 40 hours, it's time for you to move over to the flat rate system. And I know a lot of times you don't necessarily have a choice. Sometimes the shops will move you to that pay, or you'll transfer from one shop to another and it has that pay scale. So, but before you get there, if you can keep track of your hours, that's going to help you out to let you know if you're really ready for flat rate pay. So once you make the move and you're going over to flat rate pay, the key to making your paycheck week after week is to walk away from the water cooler and just narrow down and focus on the jobs that you're doing. And so what you're going to do is you're not going to do the water cooler talk. You're going to focus on your cars. You're going to make sure you got your hours first. Once you have your hours where you're comfortable, then you can go do the water cooler talk. But until then, as soon as you get in and clock in, you start hustling. You right away start doing your inspections, start making sure your tools are organized, start working on anything you could possibly do to make your flat rate pay easier for you. Flat rate pay is all about the little things. It's keeping tools organized. That's going to keep you flowing and making you money faster. It's about communications with the service writers and the people at the desk. That's going to keep the flow going. So having a good positive attitude towards the front desk will help you make flat rate pay easier. The other thing you can do is on your spare time is you use that to either study or research vehicles that you're working on. So like if you know you're coming into the shop tomorrow morning and there's a job already waiting for you there, you can go ahead and do some pre-research on it. So when you get to work, you already have a head start, you already kind of know where to go, or you can determine what tools you need to get out and get your service cart ready so you can start banging on that job. Anytime a job comes in and you get your parts ordered, the first thing you want to do is check those parts in, make sure those parts are right. The biggest time waster is when you get about halfway through your job and then you go check your parts and realize most of them are wrong, and then you got a dead rack, you're waiting on parts. So that's just a big time waster right there. So as soon as those parts get in, make sure you check them in and then move on to to the repair. So another tip for you guys is being organized, and that's not just your tools, but the parts that you're taking on and off vehicles, having that all organized and having a system for it where you can lay it all out and boom, 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 systematically put everything together and take everything apart. The better organized you can be around the vehicle with the tools and with the parts, the faster you're going to be. Okay, so one of the big keys to making flat rate is filling in every minute of the day, using every minute of the day, basically to make yourself money. So if the oil is draining, don't just stand there and look at the oil and watch it. Get moving. You can either be doing your inspections, if it has a tire rotation, rotate those tires. If you've got a serpentine belt to change, go ahead and start on that belt while the oil is draining. Whatever it may be, what's on your ticket, don't just sit there and watch oil drain. Keep moving, and that's going to keep you flowing, and that's going to make you more money. So look for those opportunities where coolant's draining. If you're doing a radiator or something while the coolant's draining, you can already be disconnecting the hoses, taking off belts, removing air cleaners and all that stuff while the coolant's draining. Don't just sit there and wait for the coolant to drain. Keep yourself moving, keep at all times. One of the hardest things about flat rate is it's all mental here. You have to be ready for it, and you have to be prepared, and you have to be honest with yourself if you really want to do this. If you don't have the hustle, go-getter attitude, flat rate may not be for you, and you may want to, if you're if you're required to be on flat rate, you may want to move to a shop where you can be paid hourly or salary. If you have the option, you may want to stick with the hourly and salary. Flat rate really comes down to the person that's doing it has to want to do it, has to want to hustle, has to want to make more. The idea of flat rate is to work 40 hours but get paid 50, 60, 70, 80 hours in 1 week. So you want to work your regular 40 but get paid as much hours as you possibly can, and that requires focus, and if you're not willing to put that type of work in, flat rate may not be for you, and I recommend not going into flat rate or not working for a shop with flat rate. But with that said, there's so much you can do to beat that time. And the first thing you could do is start with your tools, have those organized, buy the right type of tools, research the tools that you need, and have those all on the ready. Have your most commonly used tools right there in the service cart. Don't want to be walking back and forth to the box for your common tools. You want those common tools right there on the service cart so you can reach in and boom. The next thing I like to recommend is having your work close. So I have service trays and service carts that I can roll and keep them right up against the job. So there's little walking back and forth, all those time sucks there. So all I do is basically turn around, boom, grab the tool, work on the car. Turn around, boom, instead of walking back and forth. Those are big time suckers right there. And you want an even, steady work pace. That will keep you from making mistakes, but it will keep you making money at the same time. All right, so the next thing is communication. You need to have good communication with the service writers up front. If you don't have good communications with the service writers up front, that's going to slow you down. So when you write up your work orders, you want to be able to document everything to the T, what you need, the labor times that it takes to do the jobs. So you want to have a good system for writing all that up and talking to the service writer. So you and the service writer can be like this, working together. So there's a book out there called by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I recommend reading that book. That's going to help you out and talking to people. It's kind of like a psychologist book, and you learn how to interact with people to get the things that you want. So you want to do that with your service writer. You want to interact with him or her to get the best out of them, and it kind of teaches you techniques how to talk to the people. So another key to flat rate is experience. The more experience you have, the easier the jobs become. So one of the best ways to get experience is hands-on. Get in there and get dirty and just start working. So the more experience you gain, the faster everything gets. Another way to gain experience is by taking training. So anytime you get offered a chance to take training, I recommend you take it. The more training you have, the more knowledge you have, the easier things become. One thing you may hear about flat rate is taking shortcuts. Well, it's not about taking shortcuts. It's about looking at the particular job that you're working on and seeing if you could not take this particular bracket off, but work it around this bracket, and doing things like that. And so the more you try those little tricks and stuff like removing parts without removing other brackets or whatever, taking something off, after a while you'll learn what works, what doesn't work, and then you can move forward with that. So those are my tips for working on the flat rate system. I'm Brian Essick from How to Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, encourage you to subscribe, invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com website for more valuable videos like this. Thank you again for watching.